Hello, welcome to Sacred Blossom Farm. I'm Tony DiMaggio. Last year, 2018, was my third season on this farm. I grew, dried, blended, processed, and packaged 1,500 pounds of herbal teas for my Sacred Blossom herbal tea line. Let's take a little farm tour. I'll show you how I do it. So on my farm, I really try to mimic natural systems. I have my plants very tightly spaced, minimum fertilizer, minimum irrigation, and all the different varieties of plants mixed together. The plants struggle more and they do grow more slowly, but that's the point. It makes them more medicinally potent. My pest control system is all about biodiversity. There's so many different living plants and there's so many different pest predators that I don't think I'll ever have a problem. This is cup plant. If you see here, it has dew that's collected in these leaves every morning all the way through middle of the day. This year I planted over 100 of these around the farm as a symbolic gesture to the birds and insects and amphibians. This field is an acre of herbs and we're gonna have an abundance of herbs out here. I'm so happy with this field. This is little baby echinacea. This will be flowering next year. Corn, no, this guy's not bad and he's ready to go. Monarda, those crazy purple flowers we saw before. This one's another one of my favorites. We've talked about this, the anise hyssop. And if you look how many bees are on there, this is almost ready to harvest. Just now you can see the first petals are starting to fall. This is fragrant hyssop. It does really well here. It's a Mediterranean plant. I love it. This is lemon balm. They say lemon balm can't be dried and still retain its quality. I've found that to be true with basil, but not with lemon balm. I believe drying this plant at very, very low temperatures, like 85, 90 degrees, and then not over drying it are critical to maintaining the top quality. This is catnip. You can see we already harvested this and how gentle we are in the harvest. We just take the flowering tops of the plants. I'm not trying to take it way down at the base. And then here's just some flowers. I've got so many flowers growing in this field. I don't even know what they all are. Zinnias, columbines, and then probably 20 other flowers I couldn't name. I have 4 different varieties of peppermint that I grow. This chocolate mint, this is the main variety I'm propagating now. I like its growth habit and has the most pleasing aroma. I have 5 varieties of spearmint. The variety I've settled on now is called Scotch mint, which I was given by Jane from 4 Elements Farm. And she's been growing herbs for longer than I've been alive. So like when she shares something with me, I'm all ears. And she goes, this is the best variety of spearmint. And I took a little taste of a leaf and I go, yes, no doubt. One of the best questions I get is, when is it the right time to harvest herbs? And you have to start with understanding where the plant has its energy. For root crops, you want to wait until the plant is gone dormant and it's put all its energy from the leaves back down into the soil. With this California poppy, it's a progressively flowering plant. But right now it's accumulating energy and it's just starting to put out a little bit of seed. As the plant gets bigger, it'll start making more of its energy from the plant into the seed. And we want to harvest it while the energy's still in the physical part of the plant. With your aromatic herbs, you want to get them when the energy is going up into the plant and into the flowers. A lot of the hippies will say, oh, you have to do it with the moon. When the moon's full or just fast full, that's when your aromatics are going to be at their most potent. If you ask the scientists in the lab coats, they'll say, oh, you want to wait till they're like 20% into flowering. That's when they're going to be most potent. What I do is the only thing I think makes sense is I go out and I smell everything. One thing I've been really surprised about is how often my nose coincides with the full moon and coincides with flowering. I also know when it's time to harvest the plant when it's covered in bees. That's a big bumblebee, huh?
It is a big bumblebee.
Yeah, so this is the wild bergamot. You can tell by the color of the flowers. By going through and cutting by hand, I can make sure that I cut only the best parts of every plant, and that's all that ends up into the tea. With these, everyone else is just cutting like all the green matter. What I'm gonna do with these is just pop off the individual flowers, and those are what's gonna go into the teacup. This is just a little wild area here. I wanted to leave a little space with just wild habitat. It's good for the bugs and good for everything else. So I've got those scattered around the farm. I don't need to use every inch of land out here. It's a 60-acre farm. For my little farm, I built what I believe is the largest herb dryer for diversified herb production in the Midwest. I have 1,000+ square feet of drying space, and that allows me to be patient. Instead of harvesting herbs every day, I can wait till the herbs are at their peak potency and also dry them at lower temperatures as well. The setup I have in the herb dryer is designed for highest quality. There are different setups you can have that are better for like larger scale, but what I do is I put all the herbs spaced out on these trays so that way everything dries very evenly. This machine here is designed by me and one of my Amish neighbors, and he welded it together. A lot of herb farms, they take the whole plant, cut it with a big mower, dry it, shove it through a hammer mill. That's what you're buying. Stems, for the most part, aren't very good. So I use this machine to shake out all the stems. I push all the leaves through, the leaves break, the stems stay on top, and I'll frequently put things, there's 2 sets of screens, over it 3 times, so stuff will get screened 6 times to really get out any stems, anything other than like the prime herb material. And also we cut everything by hand, so everything that comes in here is like a perfect leaf. You know, we know everything that comes in, and then we're handling everything in here repeatedly. So if we do find a blade of grass or a brown leaf, those things all get picked out one at a time, and that's how we ensure that everything goes in the tea is perfect. I started looking closely at what herbal products were in the marketplace. I started looking at the herbal teas and the quality of the herbs that went into the herbal teas, and I thought, wow, I can do a much better job than that. No chemicals or synthetic inputs have been used on this farm since 1992, which is part of the reason I started farming here. But I'm not certified organic for a few reasons. First of all, most people who consume my product, like, they know about this place, and they know that what I do is so far beyond organic that organic's several steps down. Second of all, it's so backwards that someone who does everything right and doesn't use any chemicals has to pay and do the work of becoming certified, but someone who sprays all the chemicals in the world doesn't have to do any paperwork at all. I'm just not a big fan of third-party certification. I'd rather people know where the food came from, where I grew it, right here on my farm. I started my business with the idea of growing like the absolute best quality herbal teas. And after being here a year, I had a lot of really good herbs produced, processed, and in storage. And I thought, okay, cool, it'll just take me like a couple of days. We'll have some recipes and like we'll be ready for the next step. Oh, I was so wrong. It took me months and about 300 iterations to get my flavors just right. It's easy to blend a tea, it's pretty good, but to blend one that's like really, really great takes quite a lot of work. So this is what we've harvested so far this year. We're just, very beginning of August now. And then this is what's left over from last year. Even the stuff that's left over from last year is better than anything you're gonna buy because most of the herbs, by the time they come into this country, they're already pretty old. If you see, there's no powder in here. And you see how everything's cut whole length rather than like ground up and shredded. You can't find California poppy of this quality anywhere. I just want the very best parts of the very best plants. So these are the 3 teas I produced this year: Tiger, Angel, and Dream. Dream is very potently sedative with California poppy as the main ingredient. Angel is delicious, calming, and nourishing, really good iced as well as hot. And then Tiger is restorative. It's good for focus and energy. You can drink it in the morning, but also at night to help restore after a long, hard day. These are the teas we have packed up from last year. That's enough inventory to get me through about till Christmas. And then after that, we're gonna come out with new blends of teas using this year's herbs with new packaging. We're always evolving and improving the business. I hope you guys really enjoyed the farm tour and learned a lot. You guys can do me a huge favor by ordering my teas online for yourself or for gifts, and also asking for it at your local stores. On a final note, Sacred Blossom Farm, these herbal teas, they're a stepping stone for me. My long-term goal is to be the steward of a lot of land and look at the land and from a perspective of what's the best thing for ecology, what's the best thing for agriculture, and also what's the best thing for residential and tourism, and bring those 3 aspects together on a very large scale project. Thank you guys so much for visiting the farm. Have a great day.